About 5 years ago, I got a call from my friend Judy. She said they were cutting down a plum tree in their yard, and would I like to have some of the wood? And I said, absolutely, I'm on my way. They live in Lakewood, 15, 20 miles from me. So I went over there and I picked up several pieces of it, and I've turned at least 2 of them. It's beautiful, beautiful wood. It's just gorgeous. The color is gorgeous. The grain is gorgeous. That bark, once you get it all cleaned up and get a finish on there, it's gorgeous as well. I'm really looking forward to this. I've had my eye on this particular piece for quite some time, waiting for it to crack, and it has a little bit, but not like most plum does. The cracks are pretty gentle, pretty minimal, so I don't think they're going to create much of a problem. I do have to do some cutting on it though. We'll talk about that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Wood Shop. Howdy, let's take a closer look at it. The piece currently is about 10 by 12, 5 inches thick on that end and 7 inches on this end. I'm going to take it to the bandsaw and cut off the corners somewhat and cut off some of the pith that's in here. That's where the major crack is. I hate to do that because that's also where the heartwood is, but there'll still be some heartwood left. That's an important part of this wood because it's so nice and purple. It's just about too heavy to hold. Must weigh well over 20 pounds. It's about 12% moisture content. Around here, 10% is the most you can hope for. So it's dry. I'll go take it to the bandsaw and do those cuts. Then I'll drill a flat spot here for my chuck jaws to set against. In the middle of that, I'll drill a hole for a woodworm screw. We'll get it mounted up and get to turning. I have it mounted up on a woodworm screw with tailstock support. It's way out of balance. This end down here is much heavier because that's the much thicker end. You can see that it's kind of oval shape right now, and it'll probably retain that. We'll probably have some flat sides, at least a portion, but we did a round one last week, so everybody should be taken care of. Time to get back to normal. Because it's out of balance, I can only get a little over 400 RPM. I'm going to be using my little stubby 5/8 inch bowl gouge. It's just about to the point where I can't sharpen it anymore. It just makes me sad. Anyway, I'm going to start with that. I'll probably end up with the longer one in a little while. So 400 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. Okay, I'm tired. It's beating me to death. You're just starting to hit the short ends. Hard wood, I can tell you that, but I knew that. Just the way it is. Oh boy, look at that color, huh? Yeah, we're having fun now. Chisel's dull. I don't know if this one's any sharper. Nope. I'm gonna go sharpen up. I'm working on this bottom every once in a while because it's not flat. You can see where I've cut and where I haven't. And when it's not flat, it just drives the chisel crazy. Well, we're just about where we need to be. I know we got a big flat spot here and a good sized flat spot here. I just don't want to make it round. Icky, but we'll go some more. You can get a much cleaner cut going this way than you can coming down. The reason I'm coming this way most of the time is because I'm trying to keep the bark on, and if I come this way I'll lift it off of there, so I have to be careful. Well, I'm just about happy with that, I guess, all things considered. I'm gonna come down to the bottom, flatten it off, put a tenon on there, and then we'll decide what to do on the side here. See if I can pick the speed up any yet. About 450. And we'll lay out for the tenon. And we'll make the tenon. Got a crack going through the tenon, don't we? Not real big. Doesn't look like it goes too far, I hope. I'm going to use this dovetail tool to square up the sides of the tenon. And that's good. And we'll come back over here to this corner and see what we can do with the side profile. You can see I've added some CA to this crack and the crack down in the tenon. Hoping to keep that together. We're going to get back to turning the side profile here with my 5/8 inch bowl gouge. We're at about 500 RPM, mask and face shield on. Ow, the chip's coming off of there. You can maybe even see indentation in my finger there. They hurt. And I think I'm going to come from the top side down again for a bit because I just don't want to pull that bark off. Yeah, okay, that'll work. So we're going to have this flat spot here on this side of the bowl, and we're going to have this raggedy flat spot on this side of the bowl. I'll sand that so that it's smooth. Over here, this is my bandsaw cut. This is a chainsaw cut over here. But I'm going to leave it. I kind of like it. It just adds a little something as part of the history of the piece. But it is going to be all cleaned up, all smooth, except you'll have some texture from the chainsaw cut going through there, but it'll feel almost as smooth as this. It'll look good. You'll see. Okay, time for sanding. And now I'm just sanding in reverse with an 80 grit disc. I'll work up through 400 grit. I have the lathe spinning in reverse at about 350 RPM. I'll bring you back here in a bit and we'll put some probably sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. Okay, let's get to it. See what kind of color we can get out of this. The piece is super smooth. How often do I say that? I can't help it. It just is, that's all. But it blows me away It just does every time. And I've been doing this a while, but this is a big, well, it's not all that big, but it's a big, heavy, hard piece of wood with a lot of disagreeable parts to it. And if you run your hands over it as much as I have, you know that it's kind of unforgiving. And then the sandpaper just brings it into submission, I guess. I don't know. It's quite satisfying. Now, if we would have turned this the other way around, with this is the top and the bark is the bottom, we would have turned away all of the bark, and when we turned the inside, we would have turned away all of the heartwood. We would have turned into the sapwood, the lighter color. And that's nice wood, but pretty hard to beat the heartwood, isn't it? So that's just something to keep in mind when you're deciding which way to orient your wood. Even if you don't like the bark, you can turn the bark away, but you don't want to turn away the heartwood. So this is sanding sealer, shellac-based sanding sealer. I'll do 2 coats of this and 2 coats of shellac. That's my usual when I do this kind of finish. And I don't show the shellac application because it looks exactly like this. No difference at all. I don't do anything different. I don't use anything different. It's the same. Okay, there you go. Now we know what it looks like. I'll see you back here in a day or two. Have a good evening. Bye. Well, I'm really nervous about this next cut. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a 1/2 inch gap between the bark and the wood right here. And I put CA around here, and I put CA around out this way. Trying to keep it on there, because I'm afraid if I catch this bad, I'm going to rip this whole thing off of here. So I'm going to just gently turn this. I have to have my gouge way over here, so I can't use tailstock support. I don't know. It's just kind of scary. Hope it doesn't happen. 510 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. It was already missing here anyway, and this is much tighter than that was. I'll save that piece in case I need to glue it back on somewhere, but that's actually about as far as I can come, judging by this side. A little further maybe, but not much. I'm sure we have quite a ways to go, and we do, about 1.5 inches. I'm going to shear scrape along the top edge here a little bit. Well, that feels like 1 inch came off. I don't know. Maybe 3/4 of an inch. Well, it's just too thick. It's just, the walls are just way too thick. I can't do a lot along the top because, well, this is flat here. That's about 1/2 inch. This side here drops off. That's actually pretty thin right there. I'm gonna start down this way. I'm going to leave the top edge the way it is, I guess. Make my walls a little straighter down the side. Got kind of a weird shape, even for me. I moved my tool rest over here closer for better support. Of course, it's right in my way. Well, that certainly looks better, doesn't it? What? It's still ugly? I don't want to get carried away thinking about my sides and forget about the bottom. Yeah, we're just about a half an inch. Don't really need to go a whole lot further. I'm sure glad I opened that up a little more. I think that'll do it for depth. I'm going to sharpen up my scraper and we'll scrape. Okay, oh boy, time for sanding. I have the lathe spinning in reverse at 350 RPM. I will alternate between forward and reverse. I'm going to work up through 400 from the 80 that I'm using now. I'm going to go ahead and put the finish on, just as you saw me do it on the outside. And I'll bring you back here in a bit and we will take off the tenon. See you in a bit. I've got a block of wood mounted up in my chuck. I'm going to put a non-slip cloth over that and bring up the very heavy bowl. Not too sure I like this one. And bring up the tailstock. Still have my center hole there for reference, so I can just drive my live center into that. Apply a little pressure, bring up my tool rest. We'll spin the piece up, see if it's running true. Pretty close. We'll spin the piece up to about 500 RPM. I'm going to use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge and begin to commence removing that tenon. We'll stop and check for clearance, and we have clearance. Just keep working it away. Now I want to get a little bit closer with my tool rest, and I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer and tighter. I'm going to turn the speed down to about 400 RPM. I forgot I had a crack in there. Maybe it's gone by now. Now I'm going to turn the speed down to about 200 RPM. And I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. Pressure towards the headstock. Right hand on the gouge. Whoops. Left hand on the switch. It's a good thing the left hand was on the switch. If it was, I don't even know. Now I'll just take this over here to the workbench, sand that up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around to the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much, although it's not my best work, perhaps. Here it is, one plum bowl in the books. I don't know, I just don't like the shape of it. I don't like how thick the walls are, but they kind of had to be because of here and here. This is only, I don't know, half an inch thick, I guess. This is, yeah, about the same. And over here we have about 1.25 inches. And over here we have probably 1.5 inches. It's just the kind of the way it had to be. I don't know that I could have done anything different. I did repair the bark right here, I think. Yeah, here and here. Those two pieces came off, and I found them and put them back where they belong. These are the cracks that are typical of plum, but usually they're a little closer to the bark and more plentiful. There's hardly any on this side. A couple. It's really heavy because of those thick walls. It feels like it's about as heavy as it was when I started, although it's not. It does have that nice plum color in the heartwood. If you don't take anything else away from this video, I hope you take away the fact that you don't want to turn away the heartwood. You don't want to start on this side of the bowl instead of this side, because that would all be gone. We would have turned all that away. So maybe that's something. And there's that one chainsaw side that I decided to leave. It's all finished, it's all smooth, it feels good, it's got some texture to it. I left it on purpose. I know that's really weird to a lot of people, but I did. And then this side is my bandsaw cut, and it's much smoother. And I sanded both sides. Let me know what you think. Thank you, Judy, for providing today's wood for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please, I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about 1 a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.